In this video, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks to get the notifications to work in DASL. This topic can be very tricky and difficult to troubleshoot, so feel free to pause, rewind, and replay this video. The first thing you need to do is be at the district level. So I am logged in twice. First, this is my test account, Melly William. This is the person I want to receive the notifications. I'm also logged in as my full access account, DRERP, and this is the account I'm going to use to configure the notifications. You first switch to the district level in all capitals. In the cheater, you type two words, notification rule. And it takes you straight to the notification rule configurations, and you'll want to change each of these drop downs to opt-in. And notice that's changing the little triangle to green, but this top one is not changed. That's because you have to click the blue save, and that changes this one from red to green. I don't recommend choosing required because you'll inundate people with notifications that they don't want, and then they start ignoring them. Once you have it turned on at the district level, you have to go to each building and turn it on there. If you try to do the building level first before you've turned it on at the district, it's going to squawk at you and give you a message that they're not enabled. So do the district first, then the building. So that's the second step. You have to have them turned on. So I have opt-in for all of them. And of course, if you don't want them to get medical alerts, then disable that one. I want all alerts. I'm going to hit save. Oops, I didn't mean to do required. I meant to do opt-in. Okay. Now, the next thing, every person who you want to get notifications has to have a security role, special security role. So my test account, this is Melly Welly, that's the username. So in my full access account, I'm going to look that user up. So I'm typing view users in the cheater, and only your DASL super user, your security admin, your EMIS coordinator, your ProgressBook coordinator, they're the only ones that are going to be able to access view users. So I'm going to look up that user, Melly Welly. And what you want to do is on this, you want to pencil it and go to tab number 2. And you have to make sure they have this role, enable notifications. I have this assigned at the district level, and that means that access trickles down to all the buildings. I don't need to assign it at each building. Whenever you do district access, it trickles down. If I just wanted them to have the high school notifications, then I would trash can this, and I would do Acme High School and the role enable notifications. The user, so Melly Welly, once we're done with this, should be logging out and logging back in, so her security recap. So this is step number 3. They need the enable notifications role. Step number 4. So I'm using my breadcrumb trail here, and I'm going to click back to security, and I'm going to go to staff members. So every person that logs into ProgressBook has a user account. That's their username and their password. But not every person has a staff account. A staff account is what tells DASL you're a teacher and show your name in the teacher dropdown, or you're a counselor and show your name in the counselor assignment dropdown. So I'm going to look to see if Melly Welly is a staff account, or Melly Welly has a staff account here at Acme, and sure enough she does. So there's that Melissa test, Melissa or DRERP account, that is my staff account. But notice this domain and username is empty. The notifications will not work unless that domain and username is filled in. If you try to pencil this, you don't see those domain and username fields. So I'm going to show you how you can get those entered, but I want to point something out. So I penciled that staff member account, and I'm going to go to tab number 2. This is the tab that tells DASL what your job function is in ProgressBook. I have given my test account the job function of principal. So if I pencil this, there's all these job functions, but honestly, most of them have no functionality in DASL. Teacher does. That's how you get your name in the drop down on the teacher menu, or not teacher menu, in the course section meeting time tab. This counselor has functionality. Most of these other ones do not, until it came to the notification. So I'm going to point something out. If you click on this question mark up here, it'll take you to the documentation site, and you're automatically on the product guides tab. You scroll down, there's a notifications document. And I'm going to jump all the way to page 24 because there's a really important chart. On 24, this chart tells you, okay, these 5 job functions of principal, counselor, secretary, teacher, and nurse, they can receive custody alerts. Principal, counselor, and teacher can see discipline incident. Discipline referrals, these are the ones that come from gradebook, principal, counselor, and teacher. So if you want to receive the discipline incidents, you have to be one of these 3 job functions: teacher, counselor, principal. I don't recommend being teacher because it's going to show your name in the teacher drop down. I don't recommend counselor because it's going to show your name in the counselor assignment drop down. I do recommend principal because that has very limited functionality and it's the lesser of the 3 evils. So that is why I have given my test account the principal job function for Acme High School in 1920. If I needed it at the middle school, I'd do the same thing. I'd go middle school, 1920 principal. Elementary, 1920 principal. And I'm going to hit cancel now. So that is saved in here. Now, how do I get that domain and username? So I'll look myself up again. So we're trying to get domain and username. Click on this breadcrumb trail up here. I'm going back to security, and you want view, edit, staff member associations. This is what is going to link your DASL username, what you're logging in, your username and password, to your DASL staff account. And your staff account is what tells DASL your job function. So I'm going to look those or hook those 2 together. So staff member name will go DRERP. Here I am. This is my staff account. And what you do is you click on this magnifier, and now you search for the user, and that user is Melly Welly. I search. So now I'm going to hook those 2 together. I'm going to hook staff member Melissa Test DRERP account to user Melly Welly. And you do that by clicking this magnifier. It says, are you sure you want to assign Melly Welly to Melissa Test DRERP account? Okay. Now, says it was assigned. If we go back to staff members and I look up DRERP, now I have a domain and a username in there. That's the only way you're going to get notifications right now. Okay, so now I'm in here as Melly Welly still. And if I click on this bell and I go to subscriptions, bingo, there I have it. Now I can turn on my subscriptions. Now I want to point something out. So this is my test account, the one I just enabled. If I try to do that same thing in my DRERP account, so I do not have a staff account, and if I would attempt to go to subscriptions, it's going to tell me it's not been enabled. So you get this message anytime you don't have all the steps filled out. It can be very tricky to troubleshoot. So now I'm in here as Melly Welly, and I want to subscribe to all these alerts. One thing to note, this email does not work. I would not even check it. It doesn't do anything. And I don't use the filters because anytime someone adds, here's an example, if you add a discipline incident, I want notification. The filters would let you say which grade levels. I want them all, so I don't need those filters. So now I have my notifications turned on for my Melly Welly. Now I'm going to go in as my DRARE full access account, and I'm going to create a discipline incident. So I'm just typing discipline incident. I'm going to add a new incident. And we'll say this is smoking in restroom. I'm going to purposely, I just gave it a title. I'm going to purposely hit create incident. I'm going to jump back over into Melly Welly. So this is the test account. Here's where the notification goes. Still no notification alert. Because what has to happen is you need to put a student on it. You need to give them an infraction and an action. So let's say it was Acevedo. Let's go Wendy, and she's the one who was smoking. Once I hit update, and if I go back in as Melly Welly, I still have no notification alert up here. And in my testing, I had to actually give the infraction. I'm going to go quick, so I'm picking something easy in the drop down. It doesn't match my description, but it doesn't matter. We'll say Wednesday school, and it starts tomorrow, and it ends tomorrow. Now when I hit this update, so I have a student, I have an infraction, and I have an action. Now I have the alert. And discipline incident has been created for. Now you can view all your notifications by clicking here, and there it is. So I know this video is lengthy, but there are lots of things that you have to ensure that are correct in order for the notifications to work. And the biggest thing is your job function and having that staff member association. If you run into any issues, please don't hesitate to send us a ticket. We'll be glad to assist. Thanks.